You know, since the beginning of time, there have been questions that have plagued mankind. Like, what's the meaning of life? Are we alone in the universe? And how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop?
3.
However, I think a more important question is, why is it so hard to make a decent Predator sequel?
You son of a bitch.
After all, you would think that movies about a race of alien super hunters that hunt dangerous people for sport would write themselves. But I guess they don't. So, when the Hulu original movie Prey came along, everyone was really excited to see what it could bring to the Predator franchise. After all, Prey promised to bring us a story that would bring the character closer to its roots, and give the Predator an opponent stronger than all of the street gangs, aliens, and mercenaries combined. A teenage girl.
What?
And that's what we're going to talk about today. Do you like movies that are worse the second time you see them?
Yes, I do.
Well, then I've got a movie made just for you. Grab a blanket and sit next to the fire, folks, as we take a spoiler-heavy look at Prey.
Good.
Give me that action.
So Prey is the story of Naru, a young Comanche girl who is stuck doing what Comanche girls are expected to do, like gather plants, and gather plants.
Plants, eh?
But she wants to be a hunter, which is why she spends all of her time throwing her tomahawk at stuff like trees, rabbits, deer, more trees, and even French people. One morning, she comes across a set of deer tracks in the mud, so she and her trusty dog named Sari head off into the woods to find it, kill it, and prove to her tribe that she's a great hunter. But she hears a strange noise, which scares the deer, causing her and Sari to have to run after it. And about now, you're probably asking yourself, how can she run as fast as a deer? Well, I'm not sure, but one thing I do know is that you don't want to be too close to a scared deer. Have you seen what they can do to playground equipment? Unable to kill the deer, she heads back home, and it's here where we meet the rest of her family. There's her brother Tabe, who specializes in hunting, and her mom, who specializes in sick burns.
I almost got a deer with it.
We can't eat almost.
Her mom also reminds her that she's not a hunter, a sentiment that's repeated throughout the movie about 40 times.
You are good at so many other things. Why do you want to hunt?
Later that day, word gets out that Pui, a young hunter, was attacked by a mountain lion and dragged into the forest. So, this guy, who looks like Rufio from Hook, decides to form a search party and bring him back. So, of course, that means Naru wants to tag along, which honestly is a good thing. Otherwise, we might forget that she isn't a hunter.
We won't be gone long enough to need a cook.
Being the good big brother that he is, Tabe takes up for her and tells the group that she is a good animal tracker, which proves to be true when she's able to find some clues that put them on the trail of the mountain lion.
Dog found shit.
There's a lot of interesting smells in poop.
Eventually, the search party finds Pui badly injured, so while they prepare to bring him back to the tribe, Naru gives him orange Tootsia petals, a medicinal flower that will lower his body temperature and slow his bleeding. As they head to the village, Tabe decides that he will stay back and hunt the mountain lion, but Naru warns him that something isn't right, and that the only reason Pui is alive is because something scared the lion away, and whatever that is still in the forest. However, Tabe tells her that he will be fine. But when Naru sees strange footprints that are going in Tabe's direction, she and another hunter named Paka go into the woods to find Tabe and warn him. When they finally catch up with him, Naru tries to tell him about the tracks that she saw, only to be told that they need to worry about the mountain lion first. So, she comes up with a plan.
What is it?
She wants to lay bait for the lion under a tree. Once it takes the bait, they will attack it from above and kill it. A plan that sounds pretty good and is immediately rejected.
If you're too afraid to hunt, go back to camp.
But once again, Tabe takes her side, so the three of them get to work on the trap by laying a fresh kill under the tree and waiting for the lion to appear, which gives Paka a chance to give her a lesson in mountain lion anatomy.
Its mouth, full of teeth like arrows. He and I will find the lion and kill him.
Wow, I guess he should have remembered that they're really good at sneaking up on people too, huh? Oh well. Anyway, the lion eventually turns its attention to Naru and corners her in the tree, and as the lion pounces toward her, she falls and gently hits her head on a rock. Later that night, Naru wakes up in her tent, and while recovering from what I assume is a terrible headache, she's told by her mother that Tabe brought her back, her medicine helped save Pui's life, and that she isn't a hunter.
If your brother needed you, he wouldn't have brought you back here.
A bit later, Tabe returns with the now dead mountain lion. So, the tribe decides to have a ceremony, declares Tabe war chief, and mourns Paka's death. And by mourn his death, I mean they never mention him again. But don't worry, Paka, you will live forever in our hearts. Angry at the fact that Tabe is getting all the glory, Naru tells him that they need to go out and find the mysterious thing that scared the mountain lion when it was attacking Pui. But Tabe, just like the audience at this point, is bored of hearing her yammer on about hunting, causing him to finally tell her that she is not a hunter.
You tried it. You couldn't bring it home.
The next morning, Naru wakes up, and in the most on-the-nose way possible, says F you to societal gender roles, and goes hunting for this mysterious beast alone. And at this point in the movie, you have to roll your eyes a bit. It's been pretty enjoyable so far, but having her go against the norms of her tribe by literally walking in the opposite direction of all the women in her tribe is just lazy. If the movie is going to be this on the nose about its messaging, then they might as well go all out and just have a scene like this.
Girls get it done.
This is also the part of the movie where it starts to drag a bit. Why? Well, because nothing of interest really happens. We see the predator hunt a wolf, and Naru hunts some rabbits, but that's really about it. And we also get to see Naru invent the greatest weapon of all time by attaching a rope made of tree bark to her tomahawk. So when she throws it, she can pull it back to her with ease. Now, you may be asking yourself, is this even remotely possible? Well, no. I mean, you can tie a rope to a hatchet and throw it, sure, but getting it back to you is going to be pretty awkward. In fact, it's probably just going to hit you in the face. While doing some more tracking in the woods, she accidentally steps into a bog, which begins to slowly pull her down as she struggles. But thanks to all of her tomahawk throwing practice, she's able to pull herself out. Wow, not bad for a rope made of tree bark. She then makes her way to a nearby river, and after taking time to wash off all of the mud and clean her gear, she hears a bear nearby. As she sneaks closer to get a better look, the wind changes suddenly, causing the bear to catch her scent and become aware that she is close by. So she has to act fast in order to keep the bear from attacking her.
That's the thing about bear attacks. They come when you least expect it.
Unfortunately, before she can shoot the bear, her bowstring, which is still wet, slips off the bow, causing the bear to charge after her. But luckily, Sari is there, and he leads the bear away into the woods to save the day. Yay! And then immediately runs back, giving up completely.
Run, bitch! Run!
Trying to avoid the same fate as Homer Simpson, Naru runs for her life and takes cover inside of a beaver dam. Everything's looking pretty bad for Naru. Yeah, it's hard to imagine anything could help her out of this situation. That is, until this happens. Terrified at what is happening, Naru heads to the river rapids to escape and washes up on shore a bit further downriver. Confused about what to do next, Naru is eventually found by a hunting party who was sent to look for her and bring her back home. And after a spirited debate, they are able to convince her to go back with them. And by convince her, I mean punch her in the face and force her to come back.
Ultimate punch!
As the group takes a moment to rest, they notice that things in the forest have gotten quiet.
Yeah, a little too quiet.
Which means that it's the perfect opportunity for the predator to attack. First, Rufio gets hit with some arrows. This guy gets hit with a spear, and this guy gets his head cut off.
Kappa is detated from his head.
But none of that phases Naru, and as she cuts herself free, she stands up slowly, looks the predator dead in the eye, and does what any strong, noble hunter would do. Once again, running for her life, Naru steps on a bear trap. So, being the good sport that he is, the predator decides to leave rather than kill her. But that means she will have to face an even greater threat, French people. Now, how do I know they're French? Well, because they fit every known French stereotype. They're smelly, ugly, and talk in ridiculous accents.
I'm French!
So now Naru finds herself the captive of the French, who demand that she help them find a way to take the predator down. And they do so by taking her dog and threatening Tabe. Still refusing to help, the trappers decide to turn her and Tabe into bait in hopes of luring the predator into a trap. And they do that by tying them to a tree in Mordor, I guess? Seriously, what has happened here exactly?
It is a barren wasteland, riddled with fire and ash and dust.
As the Predator continues his quest toward Mount Doom, he steps on some bear traps, which causes the Frenchman to spring into action, and they manage to temporarily capture the Predator in a net, which lasts about 20 seconds. Now finally, we get to see this Predator do what he does best, and brutally murder everyone. And honestly, there are a lot of guys to kill in this sequence, so let's just speed it up a bit, shall we? As the massacre continues, Naru and Tabe manage to escape, so Tabe decides to go find some horses, while Naru walks back to the French campsite to get her things. And she gets there just in time because they're about to kill Sari. Now normally, one might think that one person taking on an entire camp is a bad idea, and typically you would be correct. But luckily, Naru has transformed into John Wick in the past 2 minutes, and is able to take care of all of the French people pretty easily, which honestly really doesn't make any sense. How has she become an amazing fighter all of a sudden? Not even a day ago, she was having trouble fighting a 100-pound Comanche guy, but now she can jump off dudes, pull them to the ground, dodge knife attacks, jam knives through people's skulls, and all of that pales in comparison to what she can do with her tomahawk.
Come on, Timmy, throw the silly ball.
Anyway, with all of the French guys dead, Naru takes a moment to doctor her wounds. While she does, the French interpreter, Raphael, who has been wounded, asks for help, and in exchange for her assistance, he shows her how to load a gun, which is good because gun safety is important. Sadly, however, this concealed carry class is cut short when the Predator comes back looking for more victims. As Raphael plays dead, the Predator seems to have trouble seeing him, which causes Naru to realize that the body cooling effects of the orange Tootsie petals have made Raphael invisible to the Predator's heat vision. But unfortunately, it doesn't make him any quieter. The Predator then hears barking, and as he looks up, he sees Sari running toward him. Being more of a cat person, the Predator then decides to just kill the dog and be done with it. But suddenly, and out of nowhere, Tabe arrives on horseback and hits the Predator in the head with a club, causing his helmet to fly off. As Tabe rides around in circles, taunting the Predator, it begins to shoot arrows at him, but misses every time. This is because the arrows are guided by laser sights in the Predator's helmet. Now, does it make sense that this Predator suddenly has forgotten how his own technology works? Not at all. But you know what? Don't worry about it.
Forget about it.
Naru then takes a moment to distract the Predator, which gives Tabe an opening to literally jump into action. And he probably does the best of anyone we've ever seen when it comes to taking on the Predator single-handedly. Well, that is until this happens. As the Predator kills Tabe, Naru manages to escape, and once again heads to the river to clean up and to rest. Later that evening, she's woken up by Sari, who seems to be fixated on something upstream from where they are. And as Naru peeks around a rock, she sees that one of the Frenchmen is frantically washing in the river, so Naru comes up with a plan. After knocking the Frenchman out with a rock, she cuts off his leg and allows rats to begin to nibble at his bloody stump. Once he wakes up, the Frenchman screams in pain and immediately crawls to a nearby gun so that he can shoot Naru. However, his screams attract the Predator to their location, and because Naru has eaten the rest of her orange Tootsie petals, her body temperature has dropped enough to camouflage herself, cementing the fact that Naru is a strong and brave hunter. But, just in case you still don't believe it, the movie has her look directly into the camera and tell the audience that it's true.
You think that I'm not a hunter like you. That is what makes me dangerous.
It's okay. We know.
Anyway, as the Predator kills the Frenchman, Naru does her best John Wilkes Booth impression, knocking off the Predator's helmet, which she steals and runs into the woods. So now it's time for the final showdown, and you might think that it would be super hard for a young teenage girl to kill a faster, stronger, and more experienced alien hunter, but actually it's not. Why? Well, mostly because the Predator, in the last few minutes, has turned into an absolute idiot. So much so that when she manages to trap him in the same bog that she was trapped in earlier in the movie, he completely forgets how his weapons work again and shoots himself in the head. Really? Out of all the things they could have done to make this final fight really cool, this is what they do? They decide to have the Predator forget how his own technology works?
That's dumb. That is a dumb, stupid, dumb idea.
Anyway, the next morning, Naru shows back up to her tribe. They yell a lot, they make her war chief, and now this girl has someone to look up to. And that's it, the movie's over. And when it's all said and done, the movie we end up with is well made, pretty well acted, and is a strong entry in the Predator franchise. However, there are several script issues, as well as characterization problems that are detrimental to the main character, and the ending is just terrible. On the production end of things, the movie looks looks great. Director Dan Trachtenberg does a great job of making the most out of his locations. He's able to get pretty good performances out of his cast, none of which had much acting experience, and obviously has a strong understanding of how to direct action, all of which is made even more impressive when you consider that this is only his second feature film, the first of which was Cloverfield Lane way back in 2016. On the acting end of things, like I said, it's pretty good. There are some moments where the delivery can be off a bit, but overall, it's nothing too bad that will make you laugh or take you out of the movie. However, the movie makes mistakes when it comes to Naru's characterization. What do I mean by that? Well, lots of times she comes across as how do I put it? Oh yeah.
Oh, bitch.
Most of the movie, she's really cocky, literally for no reason. Now, I understand she wants to appear confident, and she doesn't like people thinking that she isn't a hunter, but I don't think that's an unreasonable take, considering that all they've seen from her is her failure to hunt.
Just a bit outside.
She even takes an unreasonably bad attitude towards her brother, even though he goes out of his way to defend her multiple times when she's questioned by other people. It's obvious that he's the best hunter in the tribe, so why wouldn't she try to learn as much from him as possible? In fact, this movie would have been greatly improved if most of it were Taabe and Naru working together. Imagine for a moment that she heads off into the woods alone, just like before. But this time, Taabe goes along with her. Then we get to spend the next little bit of the movie with the two of them hunting together. We would then be able to see her become a better hunter as he shows her how to improve the skill set that she already has. The rest of the movie could literally be what we already have. But this one small change would have made a world of difference. It would help her grow more as a character, which in turn would help the audience connect with her more. And it would also help moments like this feel more earned instead of coming out of nowhere with the character suddenly having all of her stats maxed out. And finally, my greatest issue with this movie is that the ending is just a letdown. Let me explain. For a moment, let's compare the final fight in Predator to the final fight in Prey. In both movies, Dutch and Naru are setting the stage for their final showdowns with their respective predators. Both of them have learned how to exploit the predator's heat vision. Dutch is covered in mud so that he can hide his heat signature, and Naru has eaten her flower petals to bring down her body temperature. Both of them use screams and fire to draw the predators out of hiding, and both are able to make the first move against their predators, injuring them badly.
I'm hit.
Dutch has to then defeat his predator with brains, sheer willpower, and all of his experience of being a soldier. But in the case of Naru, she's able to beat her predator because he's an idiot. Now, yes, it is true, she does set some traps, shows ingenuity, and is obviously very smart. I don't want to take that away from the character, but the whole reason she's able to do this is because, all of a sudden, the Predator can't remember how to fight. He forgets that he can remotely control his spear. He accidentally cuts his arm off. And even in moments where he has her by the neck, he just doesn't kill her. Like seriously, she weighs maybe 100 pounds. This dude is strong enough to punch out a grizzly bear. So surely he could just snap her neck, but for some reason, he doesn't. I guess the best way to put it is that the ending to Prey feels cheap and unearned. Not that Naru shouldn't have beaten her predator, but she should have done so by using her skills and abilities as a hunter, not because her skill tree was suddenly maxed out, or because her predator turned into a moron. So, with all of that said, would I recommend the movie? Yeah, I would. Overall, despite its issues, I think there's a lot for die-hard Predator fans to enjoy. And even if you don't know anything about the franchise, I still think you'll have a good time. It's a strong, worthy entry into the series. In fact, one could argue that it's the third best of all the Predator movies. And yes, I know that isn't exactly a high bar, but that doesn't make it any less true. So, if you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's on Hulu. I don't think you'll be disappointed.